Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare that the facts you are going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
Please state your full name and your designation at the Kruger Law Firm, Chamber of Business and Tourism.
My name is Mpumalanga, and I'm the Chief Operational Officer at Kruger Law Chamber of Business and Tourism.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You may start with your presentation.
First of all, I would like to welcome all the guests to beautiful Nelspruit. Luckily, it's not so hot today with most terrible weather, but welcome to the city. We appreciate you being here and for the opportunity. First of all, just a little bit of background. I promise I'll be very short and not boring at all. We represent about 1,000 small to medium businesses. There's about 7 large ones among our membership, and half of them are tourism related. We are also the official voice of business in the district. Our region chair is very poor, but yet we see a very high population growth. And that is really because Mpumalanga is this little light in the middle of nowhere where there might be a possibility for work or housing or something where people stream to, but unfortunately half of the area and surrounding area is really, really poor. And for this reason, we need to preserve businesses so we don't lose more employment. And I think the statistics will just worsen over the next few years as economic conditions decline. Now, we definitely object to the increase of 15% per annum, and we will be presenting our case with 6 different points. Starting with the true purpose of the methodology that you employ at this stage. If I can quote from what it is supposed to be, just 2 of those points: allowing the pass-through of prudently incurred primary energy costs. We doubt that there was prudence. Allowing for prudently incurred other expenditure on controllable operating costs, not over expenditure. We cannot revisit what you already approved, but this was after 3 years of not having reliable financial information available, and none of us could really project what's coming. And then, of course, the terrible corruption and fraud you can't easily forget. The RCA method was developed to protect the consumer and refund them when Eskom has overcharged them, not really the other way around. Now, Eskom is a for-profit company like most of us, and certainly the members that I represent. Not all of us can go back after 4 years to our clients and say, oops, we've undercharged you, please refund us. This is totally unimaginable in the real world. You cannot trade while you are insolvent. Either the owner must commit to capitalization or you must liquidate. Sometimes business rescue is an option, but certainly not in the case of Eskom. So the simple basis is capitalize or sell. Our companies cannot get refunds from our clients now because Eskom requires a refund. We can't go back and ask the same thing from our clients. The behavior you employ is that of a non-profit company like the SPCA. We say, look, we've got more animals than expected, so please help us with donations. You are a for-profit company and it comes with responsibility. The effects of corruption and mismanagement. We really commend the progress in cleaning house that you've employed in a short time. We've looked at all the investigations and cases opened against former staff and management. We also received that you are actively looking at reducing your cost of employees and various other things. We are noting that and we commend that. But we cannot condone any increase and anything above prudent controllable operating costs. The increases we've quoted for controllable operating costs were as follows, and even a reduction in the first year coming, and definitely not higher than CPI. We understand that the reasonable capital cost should be subsidized by tariffs. That's nothing new though. And that should be included in the depreciation cost in the operating cost. However, the lack of prudency and the money squandered instead of paying off loans are sins of the past and should not be subsidized by us as consumers. The owner of the company, which is the government, is responsible to fund their own mistakes. Therefore, government intervention is required. Eskom is a critical service provider and South Africa cannot do without Eskom. And if we want to restore investor confidence and business confidence, which is very low at the moment, Eskom should be able to operate efficiently without fear of being shut down. If SAA could be rescued, which is not critical in my opinion, so can Eskom. We feel that government as the owner of the company should rescue Eskom in order to make payments of this loan without increasing of rates to cash flow consumers and businesses. Well, that comes out of our taxes too, but hopefully Treasury will come up with savings to cover that. Eskom's core strategies check is to ensure reliable electricity supply, supported moderate electricity price increases through cost efficiencies across the business. Eskom could over a number of years not ensure reliable electricity supply, which led to serious economic factors. And you quote statistics on paper which shows reductions and so on. But just the recent load shedding has caused 40 businesses in my area to close down. And that culminates to 200 employees without work. 15% increase is not modest by anybody's definition, and you ask for that in your core strategy. Cost-efficient management has only seen an improvement recently, and we're still watching this space. The effect to businesses, a sharp increase in unemployment and business closures. We've already seen 40 closing down. And not just that, we are also not able to plan ahead because these increases are coming at short notices, and every year we don't know what's going to happen next. Yet we have to quote rates to our clients a year and even more in advance if you are in contracts. There's also going to be an effect on Eskom. You will lose clients and revenue as businesses close down. More people will not pay their bills because they can't afford it. Clients will convert to alternative energy. I think you've already seen this happening in the previous presentation. And then you will lose them forever. You will make yourself redundant by high cost and unreliable service delivery. South Africa, sharp increase in unemployment, business closure, which leads to a shrinking tax base, less exports, as SA companies lose global competitiveness with these prices, protests without end, which we are already seeing. South Africa will look like a real third world country where government can willingly increase any prices to fund their extravagance. And by extravagance, I mean salaries that are so high that us normal people can't even imagine receiving that amount in a year. And then we don't talk about the news headlines. Now, our recommendation is what I've said before: we will accept the real required increases or reductions. And definitely now our recommendation is what I've said: accept that costs have gone up to a reasonable degree, but we cannot see any reason why the rate should be put up on inflation. We will accept no less than 4.8% per year as reasonable. We insist on government intervention to rescue Eskom. We will accept no less. We expect Eskom to show by reputation that they are able to manage the entity with prudence before they return to consumers again. With more promises showing by reputation that they are able to manage the entity. And in conclusion, all the research quoted for this application, once again, is poor management and out of business. And evaluation. Eskom's owner is responsible to fund the estate. After all, that business had to evaluate the past years. Eskom's governance is cost, fuel costs, transport costs, that increases load shedding, downgrades, recession, minimum wage, we are flat broke and left that middle class load shedding, downgrades, recession. We have kept this country going while it was being small business are flat broke. The most middle class, we mostly subsidize wages. We can keep this country going while it was being small business are flat broke. The most the business are mostly subsidized wages. We can keep this country going.
Check if the members have one or two questions of clarification what the recommendations. Check if the members have one or two questions of clarification what the recommendations. Check if the members have one or two questions of clarification.
If you're able, can you indicate how you do the calculations, your recommendation of the just with the calculator in the first year 5%? I think how do you do the calculations, your recommendation of the work that you do just with the calculator in the first year 5%? I think how do you do the calculations, your recommendation of the work that you do?
So you spoke about businesses that closed and those that are likely to close. Do you, as an organization, get notification of those? You spoke about businesses that foreclosed and those that are likely so would appreciate. Do you, as an organization, get notification of those businesses that foreclosed and those that are likely so would appreciate? Do you, as an organization,
I know your comments relate to the issues that I think at the time was as an organization, I know there is also dealing with the issues that I was indicate in terms of your members what is their likely response or reaction. Should there be an increase that is above what you have required? Just want to understand their sensitivity to try them give us what is about in terms of price sensitivity their sensitivity when trying I think also to take advantage of business, we would request that your organization assist us in the analysis also to take advantage of business. We want to request us and also if we take into account the line of question that we had this morning. So if you can take it from those points that were raised and also try to get that account the line of question, give us your views that can be allowed, what can be allowed into the time from those and what are the reasons. You take all the parameters of conditions of how much the energy that is gained out of each plant, energy utilization sector, and also the energy conditions of how much that energy then you can also assist us with regard to the point you made here, where the storm comes back and say, well, we didn't recover the cost. For that we said we have to recover, meaning that the sales rate part of it and say, well, ourselves for the cost they didn't realize is that the fault of the consumer, or is it the fault of the seller who will sell more and because of the reasons and other areas that the seller must take control, or if the seller couldn't sell more, why should more for the very because of the reasons that you never even other areas that the seller must take control, or if the seller couldn't sell more, why should more for the very because of the reasons that you never even
I'll just quickly answer to those that I came at the moment. The point started with 3 percentage points. That was actually in the application. I'll just quickly answer to those in the application. So I quoted it from that. And also quoted the average of points. That was actually in the application from the documents similar to the application. And yes, definitely the sales value was not realized. As you've seen from my previous presenter, in private sector, when we face higher costs and when we come back with selling, as you've seen from my previous presenter, we have inside that sector, so I can answer that straight away. As for the other 4 points, I know, do research and get back to the result. As for the other 4 points,
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we will on with our program. We're going to take a presentation from Mpumalanga. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we will launch with Mpumalanga program. We're going to take a presentation from Mpumalanga. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we will launch with Mpumalanga program. We're going to take a presentation from Mpumalanga. Please solemnly declare that the facts you're going to present to this panel today will be the truth and the whole truth. Please state your name and your designation. The facts you're going to present to this panel.
General Manager, Mpumalanga Agriculture.
Please state your assistant and designation. The facts you're going to present to this panel.
General Manager, Mpumalanga Agriculture. Is the provincial affiliate from Agri South Africa in the province. The other side, General Manager Mpumalanga hosts 35 farmers associations, 6 provincial and model organizations, and a couple of corporate members. On behalf of our members, Mpumalanga Agriculture today will do this presentation with the main objective and to contribute to the sustainability and profitability of our members' agricultural sector regards this presentation. Mpumalanga Agriculture welcomes the opportunity and ability men and Eskom's agricultural sector regards this presentation. Something about agriculture welcomes the opportunity and ability men Mpumalanga province regards the economy of the province. More than 68% of Mpumalanga serve use for agriculture. A large portion of South Africa's grain, citrus, sugar, more than 60 soft fruits come from Mpumalanga. The province is an exporter of macadamia nuts, a sector that is growing at a remarkably fast pace. The province's rich agricultural produce is used by several companies, sector of the fishing industry, also have fast paper plants, fertilizer facilities, textile manufacturers and sugar companies. The fresh produce market in Mpumalanga is planned to accommodate investors who want to start factories to manufacture products such as juice or packaging. The agricultural sector's contribution to the economy of the province is more or less 3%, while it represents almost 9% of the national agricultural production. The contribution to employment by the agricultural sector in the province is more or less 20%. In 2015, 49% of the population lived in zone regions in the rural areas, compared to about 27% for the rest. 49% of the population The people of Mpumalanga regions can only improve their situation if they become economically active. And if those people that are already economically active can provide their situation, job opportunity, economically this regard, within the agricultural sector, and especially within the irrigation farming, jobs can be provided at the lowest capital interest of all economically active sectors in Mpumalanga. The agricultural sector makes a large contribution to the economic activity of the province. This sector also has shown widespread farming and backward engagement, especially the labor-intensive sector. Furthermore, the agricultural sector is not only haven for the jobless work, but it also has the potential for development of entrepreneurs and opportunity for entry from the formal economy. Now, the impact of electricity on the agricultural sector in rural areas. I think that is the most important part. We need to keep in mind the fact that farms are multi-production units. So we need to move from a production function, we need to keep a profit function first. More specifically, the potential negative impact on irrigation, reliant, energy-intensive industries like the horticulture, dairy, poultry, grains, and other processing industries. And as well, these are crucial importance, like when considering Eskom's basic grains applications. The agricultural sector plays a crucial role to ensure that national food security requirements are fulfilled. Sharp increases in electricity costs, as suggested by Eskom, will put agricultural cash flows under pressure. Under severe increases in electricity costs is a major variable cost contributor. The electricity bill is 5% annual of the total expenditures in farms, and is measured in the variable cost contribution of electricity as well. Remember, agriculture is a price taker and does not have the luxury of a regulator clearing account such as Eskom to make good revenue loss taker. According to the Nersa Eskom-driven tariff and structural adjustment methodology, an average price increase is applied on all the tariffs. This includes network charge adjustment. Firstly, farmers will pay a higher tariff for electricity use, and secondly, pay a higher fee in terms of electricity line fees. Farmers provide which will also increase in tandem with electricity tariffs. Effectively, farmers will be hit by a double increase in their electricity input costs. In some cases, farmers will be following efficiency and energy saving measures. And we saw it also in the recitations of Nersa. Farmers following efficiency and energy saving measures. And we saw farmers pay more for the line fees than for the actual farm electricity consumption. A further increase in tariffs will likely compel some farmers to move off farm electricity. This will have a spillover impact on rural communities that depend on farmers' contributions to line fees, which help to secure the availability of electricity in rural areas. The affordability of electricity will have direct influence on the safety and security situation in rural areas as well. Now, some recommendations direct influence on the safety. While reform plans are being developed and implemented as well, and we believe some people are busy with it. Eskom should not be allowed to transfer the cost of mismanagement to the consumers. South Africa cannot carry on with the status quo in regards to moral cost of mismanagement by Eskom in its current form. the current way of doing nuclear is not sustainable. 50 billion shortage of cash flow is for the next financial year, and debt levels 400 billion plus with the potential to increase to 600 billion cannot be considered sustainable in any land level. Serious consideration must be given to self-government. The portion of ESCOM not be considered creating public-private partnership. Serious monopolistic strongholds that ESCOM has over the power supply chain must be terminated. Competition has never been bad for any industry. SA, South Africa, new and independent electricity network with a functional structure has never been accommodated private consumption of electricity. South Africa, new and outdated normal business practice in a case like this of ESCOM would rather be to reduce the price of the commodity and sell it in an effort to increase sales. Of ESCOM that rather be from reduce the price of the commodity and sell it in an even more effort in the management of coal contracts as well as the management of coal transport in regards to the reducing of costs. In the management of ESCOM need to increase the levels of management needs of personnel in regards need to recapitalize the debt and park it on the long term. As the same need to increase the privatized part of ESCOM that will create new capital, recapitalize the allow the private sector to take up the space as the energy shortage. Privatized part of government need to restructure, recapitalize trading. Government need to restructure the ESCOM business model immediately. Government need to restructure ESCOM's need to produce electricity more effectively, need to restructure the ESCOM actually, this states the most expensive electricity producing structure in the world. And in this case, with all respect, this states my most expensive electricity producing structure in the world. In this case, with all respect, sir, you ask us the question compare apples with apples. In this case, you force us to use my ground for another apple. So that apples is the way to go. The worst in the picture is the fact that these two power stations do not produce enough electricity to allow maintenance at their own power station to go. Government need to give attention to both debt relief, not tariff increases, simultaneous at their own finish. Even that the situation appears to be out of control, solutions must be looked for on all fronts. Increasing efficiency, reduction in operational costs, reduction in the personnel costs, and re-evaluation of existing contracts like also the level and need of current cross-subsidies and special pricing arrangements should be considered. So contracts should also be re-evaluated in view of pricing arrangements, and although not the preferred route, export taxes should be also be considered. Thank you for the opportunity to give some input from the agricultural sector. Also here, responsible departments have been out of the opportunity if we want to see ESCOM survive. If we are serious, responsible grow the ESCOM coming out of the opportunity. We wish you wisdom to survive. If we are serious, responsible grow the ESCOM coming out of the opportunity. We wish you wisdom to survive.
That we must different farmers get their views from members. If the price is somewhere to increase by a specific percentage, what will their views be noticed? The amount of electricity is somewhere consumed, or by switch to other energy sources, and what stage the amount which other energy sources. more details on that switch, and also that is sent to the society. And there are pages here to get hold in terms of the additional information that Nersa is specified or explained to us, just to make sure that we do our independent verifications, and when we take a decision based on actual views, just to make sure that we are safe for us. I just would like to know if you can participate in the customer satisfaction survey by ESCOM. You as one organization. I just would like to know if you can participate in the customer satisfaction.
Madam Chair, I don't think I'm aware of that survey, but I will contact the representative of Madam Chair, ESCOM. I will follow aware of that survey, but I will contact
in writing around the questions that are asked. Some of them said to just understand the context, but I want to respond in writing for around the questions that are asked by money. Some of them said by money. They asked the website to Mr. Ranch was interrupted. Where is getting in touch with you for the contact details and said by money.
You asked me for the reaction of our members. No, and I cannot have that information. You asked me today, tomorrow, and Sunday before Monday, and I cannot have that information. You asked me today, tomorrow, and Sunday, I understood the government.
Okay, let me I'm saying that by money you will get the request in writing. Right?
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, I'm saying that by money the next presenter is the Lieutenant Law for Mining and Energy Advisors. The next presenter is the Lieutenant Law for Mining and Energy Advisors. The next presenter is the Lieutenant Law for Mining and Energy Advisors. Do you solemnly declare that the facts you are going to share with this panel today will be the truth and the whole truth?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. May you please state your full name and congratulations and my name, Energy Advisor, for the record.
My name is Ted Brown, and I'm part of my Energy Advisor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ted Brown. I request that since we the issue of time on our side, but we would appreciate it very much. The Ted is silent that issues and also the benefit of additional information that we are receiving, which will enhance the kind of analysis and issues and must appreciate additional information that we are receiving.
As usual, I just want to preface my slides quickly. Almost very short. I just want to all nurses to preface that my slides problem with the numbers. We're not dealing with RCA. I just want to find all represented by things with the numbers. I think we do not now, and then we're talking about MYPD 4, but there was a 1 year MYPD as well. I don't know what the number is. We do not now, and it's RCA, my business for that organization. So somewhere from 1 year as well. I don't know what to try and do studies. What we do for that 1 year, my business for that organization. So that's the missing order. The second thing is what we have over there is nursing. So that's the missing order. The second thing is what we have over there, but it's still nursing. So that's the missing order. Lives. The second thing, and that is confirmed by the panel of questions, it's still nursing because we haven't seen Apple being compared with lives. We haven't seen proper confirmed by the panel of questions, and I'm going to just quote, we haven't seen, I think that issue. I haven't seen how one raise an issue first. And I'm going to just quite estimate pause I haven't seen how one raise comparison of the overnight cost and graph. They were now suddenly opposing the European GDP dollars. He said previously mentioned that since these projects have been set up, the rand is half the European GDP dollars. So you can't now initiate the rand and compare that to the initial budget of estimates. And I said, what the hell, compare that rand to the initial budget of there's something wrong. We need to decide what the basis for the hell of we're going to talk 7 rand to the dollar or 15 rand to the dollar. Because if we're talking 7 rand to the dollar and these products are set what the basis, then that graph looks very, very 7 rand to the dollar, very, very different. Then with UPA, you see, on truly show that it costs us 10 times more than the World Bank average. Very, very different. Compared with Mundra in India, on truly 35 billion rand. We're running on UPA 170 billion rand. And total failure for the Union you see $1 billion as well. It was running for 15 billion and total failure for the Union the one issue is worrying because when it comes to the R&D for the second time that I've picked up estimate and capitalize each other is worrying because when it comes to the R&D this time it's not as much as previous for the second time $5 billion estimate and capitalize each other. I don't know how we're going to get that from. When it comes to the R&D what is actually more trying to say is $5 billion the argument previous to the previous Nersa panel was that was the future value of all the intellectual capital put into the European. The argument previous to the previous Nersa panel was that was the future value. Eskom benefits. There's something wrong here with the formula. Eskom benefits with having projects delayed for years and years and years. There's something wrong here with the benefits. With having projects that are not even ideas delayed, they actually benefit they get a return on the walk anyway, the WUC. And that's really not even ideas delayed. There's no incentive on us to actually get it. The other thing is that that's correctly pointed out this morning. There's no incentive on us to get the profile doesn't show the decommissioning of more than 8 units. That's correctly pointed out. Doesn't show that. There's no incentive on us to get the other thing that I'm worried about. Maybe I'm stupid. Decommissioning possible. But the Eskom sales profile for electricity sales doesn't show the impact that I'm worried about. Maybe I'm stupid. The IBP is costing this country more than 64 billion rand. That's so that Eskom doesn't show the impact that I'm the Eskom sales profile, as far as I can understand, doesn't produce more than the IBP is 64 billion rand. This is only for 5%, it's not only for 1%. Therefore, forecasting the reductions. Now, if you add IBPs into it, the reduction will be even bigger. There's something wrong with those numbers. They're smarter than the forecasting the reduction. I repeat, now if you add anybody into it, the reduction will be even bigger. Anybody. There's something wrong with the funding plan or a business plan with a 50 billion rand anybody. Must be shot. Those people need to be shot. They don't deserve the job. You cannot present the business to us with a 50 billion rand which will see not in public. Those people need to, in fact, it's quite proud of the 50 billion rand. That's not understand that's ridiculous. So the 50 billion rand, that money is going to come back to us and buy us something on the last year. In fact, it's quite proud of the 50 billion rand. And that's not acceptable. All MYPD, as we said this morning, is going to come back to us and buy us effective and reckless. It doesn't attract testing all MYPD to the president of this country who's telling people in dollars and not effective. The other thing that bothers me, Madam Chair, that's not to rise. Next up is my slides. He's talking for landscape, so draw a long nose. The other thing that bothers me, Madam Chair. But the other thing that comes is the declining investment. Last year, our president had an investment landscape, so climate knows not as sentiment, but the other thing that comes, companies promised billions and billions of rand. Last year, our president had an investment. Those same companies, now don't you ask guys, we'd like some more power. Companies don't share no billions of rand. Eskom is declining with people power. And so one example, I can bring them to and it includes members of the EU IG, which I'm not aware of. Eskom is declining with people power. Now, I don't understand that. So one example, who's undermining who here? We all agree that we want to grow employment, but massive unemployment. But people, Eskom on paper is what surplus capacity coming through, who's undermining who here? And then we all decline for want to grow employment, but massive unemployment. But people, I don't know, I'm ready to give up. Who's undermining who here? And then we all decline for want to grow. The same thing, we heard this morning about these fantastic stats of Eskom. On transmission and distribution side. I can bring the names of people who have applied for upgrades of the delivery for Eskom. The meeting is attended by 90 Eskom staff, one of my staff, who have applied, and they can't resolve the issue, and it takes them longer than 3 months to try and come back with the meeting is attended by 90. We are trying to build South Africa, but it seems to me Eskom is attended, they can't resolve the issue. And the corruption, inefficiency, laziness, and lies. We are trying to build South Africa, but it seems to me Eskom is attempting very hard to resolve the issue. Madam Chair, inefficiency, Eskom is talking about putting things into reserve storage and so on. Your panel picked it up this morning. Eskom is trying to avoid using the word scrap. They are scrapping those reserve storage and so on. Why can't you be trying to fellow South African and in the same boat? Why Ryan trying to represent things to us? Well, I'm also worried because Eskom must have in the same boat. We've asked them for the RCA, we've asked them for the consulting report. Those details haven't been followed up. And you say that Eskom is providing in writing doesn't know what we should. I don't see that right. We've asked them for the RCA, we've asked them for the consulting report. Those details haven't been. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned is I hear constant writing the marketplace. I don't see that right. His contract is flat. There was one report in the newspaper about 2 years ago. The other thing that Eskom's contract is flat. And I believe they were being. But the number that was acknowledged by Eskom at that stage, one report was in the newspaper about 50 billion had been received as flat contract, and they said they can work them down or squeeze them down or elbow or politically go down with less than 20 billion. What's happened to these billion that been received as flat contract, and they said they can work them down or squeeze them down or elbow or politically go down with less than 20 billion. What's happened to these? The other thing that brings tears to my eyes now is Eskom stands in nonchalantly and talks about having smooth prices. And no price spikes, and no price shocks. Well, 15% of nonchalantly plus the RCA, that's 70% prices. And no price, if that isn't a price shock, God knows, I don't want to listen to the fields or nonchalantly plus the RCA. I mean, what they're saying, what they do, two different things. One is a price shock, estimated in the reality of the fields or nonchalantly plus the RCA. I mean, what they're saying, what they do, run two sides very, very quickly. The background of it is, as far as I'm concerned, Eskom is still captured in the course, it's still feeding us food, feeding us scenarios that aren't really 70% price for tariff. People talk about 15%. It's not 50. It's 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 4 plus 4 scenarios plus the RCA of 21.7%. People talk about 15%. It's not 50. It's 50. I believe the rise of everything will come up and then downward in the break. That isn't adequate. That's not going to salaries. Breaking that Eskom is not going to recapitalize this. I believe I've talked about asking the review the license structure because I find the default in the license breach and the courts will not give me relief by penalizing this in the suspending the license. We find the default in the license breach and the damages. So we need to have different licenses received. Line charges everybody's complaining about. The only people that are happy about it want to push off with the license breach. It's a big problem. I still have a problem with Eskom's entitlement. Line charges everybody's complaining about. Nersa's got the power to do a forensic. I'm looking forward to that forensic. And then in this region, there seems to be a particular problem, and as they just brought it up, and I believe my other clients that have the power to do a forensic, is a problem with fictitious and wrong. And then in this region, there seems to be a particular problem. Millions. Eskom doesn't want to cooperate to consolidate company accounts. Eskom has done fictitious bidding. Your arbitration panel is confirming that it is fictitious bidding. Number 6, that's out of the air, onto my client's system is done fictitious bidding. Escalate the whole regime with maximum demand, but it's totally infected out of the air. Now if it's used for onto my client's system, those penalties need to be the body. Escalate the whole regime with maximum demand, but it's totally infected out of the air. I made a statement to Port Elizabeth that it seems as the rural lines are not being maintained. The body escalated. We've seen Bloemfontein pictures. We've seen today pictures. And I'm asking all the security Elizabeth maintenance on the line. There's something wrong. Somebody's lying here. The notice needs to be made on Bloemfontein pictures. We've seen today pictures. The other problem with me is SQ ethics. There's something wrong. One of these presenters stood up here and said, I've admitted that there's been fraud and corruption under my watch. The problem with me is SQ ethics. None of the SQ presenters, none of the CEOs made an apology to South Africa. I'm very proud of that. But none of the SQ presenters here apologized for the rampant fraud and corruption during none of the SQ presenters, none of the CEOs made an fraud and corruption must have occurred somewhere. I'm very proud of that. But none of the SQ presenters, all the SQ presenters will claim to be highly skilled to justify their exorbitant salaries. 4 times fraud and corruption must have occurred somewhere. With all these fantastic skills, is the worst situation I've been in 50 years. I've been associated with this since 1988. It's more than 50 years now, and despite these fantastic situations, he's in the worst financial position I've ever seen. And it's just looking going forward. Despite these fantastic, I can't understand it. Thank you. He's in the worst financial. I also want to, Madam Chair, with if possible, to try and raise the ethical standards in these standards. And request all future SQ presenters to address their role in the fraud and corruption. And if they have no role, why did they listen to the ethical standards? I'm tired of all this covering up. That's why I say SQ is still corrupt. Their role is still kept in the fraud and corruption. And if they have no role, why did they? The CEO list of ethics and cultures is true. I'm tired of all this covering up. That's why I say fuck the mind of it. Their role is still kept in. How are we going to call the current unethical? Why did they? The CEO list just carry on. It's true. I'm tired of all this lines and just just carry on. The ethical organization doesn't get call the current unethical. Why did they? The CEO list just carry on. I said, I need to modify the MYPD and RCA. The ethical organization doesn't get it. Obviously not thorough enough to sort out this mystery and trial. I said, SQ is not encouraged by the revenues and cash losses for revenue results. Obviously not. Nersa has instructed SQ to review its sales budgets in line with actual at the end of the year. That hasn't happened. SQ just keeps on projecting more and more. Instructor hasn't come back and said, now we're going to review the actual sales are lower in our normal business, now we'll take steps to minimize them. They just keep on. Instructor hasn't come back and said, now forget the problem. SQ has ignored nurses, deliberate instruction to minimize them. If I need to do 5 those minutes, I will. SQ has also ignored markets. They claim to be a for-profit company, as the previous presenter said. And all the for-profit companies looks at market signals and reacts accordingly. This whole RCA is also going to remain a for-profit company. It claims to be a for-profit company, as the previous presenter said. We can't have a man who comes through for parties. And in fact, I said, looks at market signals and reacts accordingly. This whole RCA is never going to come down for such a RCA as far as the mechanism of the right. Oh no, this behavior is going to stop. SQ may also ignore the impact of the as far as I can see, there's something that's always going on. I'm not going to talk about the inefficient producer stats. Other than it's worse than the RAB of 1.4 trillion impact of the which I find gobsmacking. Today we see it's actually 2.1 trillion in SQ. I'm not going to talk about the inefficient producer stats. I need access to loan of 1.4 trillion access to those consulting people. Which I found we promised us today I haven't seen them, not progress in the presentation. And what else, I need to see them before we get to the for I said, I can't expect to react to them if I haven't seen the stuff. We promised us today I haven't seen them, not progress in the presentation. My last point, I do not ask it before we get to the and I hope my question is superfluous. Nersa ethically watching us. We rely on Nersa last point. We have to take the law into our own hands. We rely on Nersa and the rule of law. We rely on Nersa ethics. We rely on Nersa last point. What is going to survive? Not the way they're getting on now. And they're going to seek the whole country with the rule of law. We rely on Nersa. Talked about all these ethics. As far as I'm concerned, Eskom is no longer doing. What is going to survive? They have bought and capitalized assets of 2 and they're going to sink on 1 trillion, which they expect us to pay for in the RCA. And the net book value is only 200 longer doing. What is going to survive? They have bought. I can't see anybody in them anymore. And they're going to sink on 1 trillion. They're just burning the money anyway, so I don't see why they're having. And then again, I ask, where is the new dawn electricity? I was hoping by driving through to the common scheme in Nelson that from 3 o'clock this morning I would see the new dawn burning the money. I still haven't seen the new dawn. I've only seen the sun rising this morning. And then again, I ask, where is the new dawn electricity? Again, my recommendation is surely a tariff increase of 70% on premium this morning. Eskom has done nothing to burn the money. I still arresting issues under the sun rising this morning. It's done nothing. And to perpetuate the increases for another 3 years, there's going to kill a lot of these people around here and their business. 70% on premium. Also, these applications be scrapped. I'm sure the ladies have said this morning are effective. We want nothing to do with re-workshop these applications for another 3 years. The public are not going to have a chance to see that rework. So I don't know how we can applications be scrapped. They're not going to have a retable application of an RCA and MYPD. I think either we can scrap it or scrap it. We go back to the and have a chance to see teaching me good as please. I don't know how we can applications be scrapped. Again, we asked for Nersa and RCA and MYPD. There's something wrong. I'm not telling anyone to complain. The people who are complaining, what Eskom says and what they find in the field is totally different. Somebody's lying. So that's why I'm fishing in the whole speech. They were saying, Eskom is something wrong. I'm not telling anyone lying. The people who are complaining. Thank you, Madam Chair. What they find in the field is
if the members
I'll present my other works in writing on my video.
Thank you very much. With regards to the additional information, I'm not sure. I think the Nersa team will be able to access
I'll present my other works in writing on my video. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you,
additional information, I'm not sure. I think the Nersa team. I would like to call upon MMC for the name of Albert Rahman.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you,
I would like to call upon MMC for the name of Albert Rahman.
Thank you very much.
I would like to call upon MMC for the name of Albert Rahman. Mr. Rahman, may you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare that the facts you're going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
Please state your name and your designation at MMC.
I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
Declare that the facts you're going to present, what's the full citation of MMC? Name and your designation and representation.
I'm the Chief Financial Officer. Try to be brief, so a few areas that we're going to cover this morning. Try to be brief, so a few areas that we're going to cover this morning. Try to be brief, so a few areas that we're going to cover this morning.
We can start with some introductions. Yeah, just an overview quickly of your industry so that you can start go straight to the input in the applications after that. We can start with some introductions. Yeah, just an overview quickly of your industry so that you can start go straight to the input in the application.
Okay, so in the interest of time, let me carry on. So I'm going to cover just a brief introduction into our company, a few issues that we want to raise to keep it simple. And then a final proposal, just a time way forward. So Manganese Metal Company, we're the biggest producer of pure manganese in the world. We've got 600 employees at our establishment, and what I just want to touch on, what's important, we beneficiate manganese ore from the Kalahari, so we add a lot of value to the product and to the country, and we use about 40 megawatts of power from ISCOM. We beneficiate the second highest load factor customer of ISCOM, add a lot of value to the product and to the country, and we use about 40 megawatts of power from ISCOM. We beneficiate the second highest load factor customer of ISCOM, add a lot of value to the product and to the country, and we use about 40 megawatts of power from ISCOM. We beneficiate the second highest load factor customer of ISCOM, add a lot of value to the product and to the country, and we use about 40 megawatts of power from ISCOM. We beneficiate the second highest. Okay, so I've covered that, so that's just some salient features of our company. Quick talk just about beneficiation. It's part of the national strategy to add value to the country. So basically we take manganese ore that can be sold internationally for $10 million by the mining companies in Northern Cape. We beneficiate that to add value to the country. And we sell that for $80 million, obviously to customers in Japan in dollars, in the US primarily. So there's a lot of value being added to that country and to all those organizations. So that's where basically our money goes to. So ISCOM, as you can see, takes a big chunk of our earnings annually, and then support 300 businesses nationally and locally, about 200. That's a lot of small businesses, you can see, takes a better than we do support. Then we employ 600 people, an average of 9,000 a lot of small businesses. One of the questions that I expect is that we stood here a year ago, 600 really dire circumstances at that stage. So what happened is that we can still stand here today, but another discussion on this one is that the rand went from 1180 to 1450, dire 1450, and that obviously helped the exporter like ourselves. We can still stand here today, the rand's back at 70, so you can see what's our sales prices a year ago it was at $1,700 of ton, and the Chinese reference price has been to $2,800 during the year, so back to 2,100. That gave us the breathing space to carry on for another year. What also had a big impact is the electricity increase of last year. It's a 5.2% compared to what ISCOM gave us. Also helped us to save our cash, to also have a big impact of our electricity increase. And then what we also did is we had a major change in our process. We actually started to use some of the slime cash, these slime slabs, Kalahari, because that is just cheaper. And then was a major impact on our business, but something that we just had to do is work through that in order to survive for these slime slabs. So a few issues that we have. We're waiting for ISCOM strategy by the end of next year. Work through that, it will be issued before the budget speech in February. And then we also saw that the President appointed the task team for ISCOM strategy. Just a few comments on that. Work through that, we feel it's appropriate to have a 3-year increase. If you don't have a proper strategy, appointed the task 19.5%, and that is basically what we will pay for. So the 4.5% 15% in fact. Eskom is asking for 15%. So by April, if they get April will pay 19.5% of electricity. And that will just mean that it's business as usual at Eskom. The presidential process seems to be a confirmation that government has very little faith in the current Eskom executive. The RCA just doesn't work for it. I mean, our very position before, we can't go back to customization back prices. So basically, Eskom has just asked us so it's 19.5% from April. That's we can't go back to customization back short-term framework. It's specifically just reapplied for that. We're energy intensive users. So about 35% of our cost is represented by electricity. So we applied for that. We actually, in order to get approval, we actually had meetings with this about every last year. We had meetings with PTI, we saw everybody in government that was going to talk to us. We actually got it through, and then it seems that this process has stopped. It's frustrating for us. The markets are dynamic, but it seems that the process of framework is not a the proposal is consideration for large intensive users to have a pricing based on short-run marginal cost national margins. Just cross subsidies. At the moment, our electricity costs, 14% of that is made up by cross subsidies, of which Eskom, as we assume, do not actually benefit from that. That's just additional cost, just additional cost for the business. We feel that National Treasury must take a holistic view on this, whether this is the best way to obtain this. The graph is just an indication. We pay about 3 billion rand every month on cross subsidies. We feel that National Treasury must take a holistic view on this. The proposal, large industrial users should not be required to pay cross subsidies. Quality increases without appropriate strategy cannot be supported because it's just repeat support the proposal yesterday, and only inflation increases should be approved. Quality increases without appropriate strategy cannot be supported graphically. What's the impact on this? So at the moment we pay 330 million rand to Eskom every year. If this is approved, that's 70% decrease in 3 years. So in 3 years' time we pay 233 million rand. The likelihood that Eskom will pay 253 million. This is approved. Eskom 70% decrease in 3 years. So in 3 years' time we pay part of our short-term framework we have to do the likelihood that study or commission is studied by an external party. What will happen if we close? The impact in our like on the farmers, it's got 10,000 people in the study or commission is studied by for us it's 586 direct jobs, 2,000 indirect jobs, 1,000 induced jobs. At the end, 4,000 people in this country will lose their jobs. So the final takeaway, we urge Nersa to help Eskom to stop the addiction. They addicted massive increases, surplus employees, inefficiencies, and avoiding. So the final takeaway, thank you. We urge Nersa to help Eskom to stop the addiction. They addicted massive increases, surplus employees, inefficiencies, and avoiding. So the final takeaway, thank you. We urge Nersa to help Eskom to stop the
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Brown. Just it's a small question. I know you're proposing that Eskom should be applying for an increase before this budget. Well, it's a 3-year strategic plan. But I know what you said as we do implementation for the coming plan for increase.
From my side, as was last year, it appears that your industry is quite price sensitive, especially when it comes to electricity. What I would request from my side is the indication of how I would like to respond to the price increase, whether it's 5%, 8%, 15%, 20%, whatever the figure is. How I would like to give us the scenarios to say if it increases by this much, what I would like to do. If it increases by this percentage, what I would like to do. I'm going to reduce your consumption, number one. And if it increases by significant amount, by this much, by how much I'm going to reduce consumption this percentage, and we then consider other energy sources. So we also want to check the basis of how I want to switch and investing in other sources that just want to check that switch, the extent of switch and the which the sanity of customer, how much switch your customer can switch to other sources and other sources. You can provide further details of that in writing, so you can just touch responses which
the first question on the status of the short-term framework application. At the moment, it is with ESCO. They've submitted questions, we've answered questions, they've submitted more questions, we've answered that. First question on the status of the short-term application. At the moment, it is with unclear what's the next they've submitted. The questions, we've answered questions, they've submitted more questions, we've answered. On this, what did you know if we say, well, without the strategy, there shouldn't be increases at the moment? Obviously, ESCO's got a lot of expenses. From my side, I would say the most that they should get is a PPI increase. And there's what did you know if we say, well, what's the strategy? There's increases. On the consumption, we're on an electrolytic process. So we can't reduce electricity. So we run flat out. We have to run flat out to reduce fixed costs. We can't go into solar, we can't go into alternatives. Energy just can't by the sheer size of the run flat out electricity that we can use. So our other options are to reduce other costs, which we have done as much as basic as what we can, and then to see how if we can be productive in other areas, and then so our other options is to reduce other costs, which we have done as much as basic as what we can.
So that suggests that you are being elastic, whether the increase is 30%. You will say it still takes the same amount of electricity.
We'll take the same amount until we can't pay for it.
That suggests that once you get the questions, you will tell us what or adverse impact so that we can balance out
we'll take the same amount until we can't pay
elasticity assessment. I very much want to get the questions. You will tell us what or adverse impact so that the next presenter is the Middlebury Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the name of Anna Martin. You will tell us what so that the next presenter is the Middlebury Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the name of Anna Martin. You will tell us what the next presenter is the Middlebury Chamber of Commerce. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare that the facts you're going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full name and your position at the Middlebury Chamber of Commerce. Do you solemnly declare that
I'm Martin, I'm the CEO of the Middlebury Chamber, and I brought somebody with me. You can introduce yourself.
Please state your full name and your Do you solemnly declare that the facts you're going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth? Please state your full name name and your designation at Middleburg Chamber of Commerce.
My name is Ian Raykot Visser and I'm
Please state your full name and
Thank you. Afternoon for the opportunity giving Middleburg
My name is Ian Raykot Visser.
Commerce the chance to reply to the ESCOM application. Electricity is the cost for the business. Every business has a uses electricity, so we cannot afford unreasonable pricing business application. Electricity is the cost for the Middleburg is at the coal face, independent of the electricity supply afford. These are the power stations in and around our area. Then we've got all the mines, we've got large manufacturers, and the saddest story about the manufacturing in our area is the closure of high-fast power stations in and around. Economic impact is still being felt in our area. And then we also have got large commercial and saddest story about the manufacturing. The blue squares are where the mines are in the area, so that you can see there is a lot of gold in our area. And then we also have got ESCOM's financial situation. The blue squares, you know, you need to manage your see that there's a lot of gold to look at to make sure that your business is sustainable. ESCOM's financial situation. So some of ESCOM's figures that you've got, you know, 15 million expected manage your loss 2018-2019 to make sure that cash and shortfall of 36 billion. EBITDA margin down. Some of ESCOM's figures, gross debt versus 15 million expected EBITDA ratio up, debt equity ratio down, gearing percentage up, free funds for operations down, margin down. So what you need to have a look at is ratio up. What do you need to do to reduce the cost percentage up? Is ESCOM actually doing proper supply research and planning? What do you need to have a look at? What is happening at the optimum coal mine? They can produce 400,000 tons of coal a month, and then use their conveyor belts to get the coal to Medina Power Station. What is happening at the ESCOM worked out of the credit needs? They can produce 400,000 Exotic mines right next to Army, and then use their power station. Conveyor belts that they actually deliver coal to Medina Power Station. What is happening at the ESCOM? And the other thing that we like to ask ESCOM is that the delivery value specified per power station actually being met. What is the percentage of ash in the area? The stories around the town is that ESCOM has never been so dirty. Does that not add to the maintenance cost of the power stations being full of ash in the area? The stories around then some of the other stations never been the original equipment manufacturers. Does that not add to what is the turnaround time the power station for the replacement part and delivery? And does that not also be about maintenance? And some of the older equipment manufacturers time they need for the replacement single supply procedures. And does that not also be about maintenance? How long does it take? And some of the and is the procurement system in the Department of Treasury actually working, or is it just causing an additional cost and additional? How long does it take? And now is the procurement system in the Department of Treasury actually working, or is it just
causing some additional points on this? So first on the technical situation.
How long does it take?
So the EAF, the electricity availability factor, is 43.9%. ESCOM in their own medium-term system energy outlook states that 75% is needed for the demand situation. Unplanned maintenance is at 20.5% at this stage, but planned maintenance is 14.2%, as opposed to in their own medium-term system energy outlook. Partial losses at the moment is over 4 gigawatt and is increasing. Unplanned maintenance is at 20. The age of the power plant stage increases MYPD and RCA taken separately, but unfortunately, multinational boards do not see that as separate increases. They only see one increase, so we have to take that one. In its RCA application, ESCOM has indicated lower sales as the culprit for lower revenue. ESCOM on multiple
multiple occasions, radio stations, printed adverts, etc. We specifically ask customers to use less electricity and use it sparingly. And then in the RCA, they are asking for a clawback because the customers listen to them. With a low EAF and resultant load shedding, Eskom is again asking customers to use less electricity. Direct knowledge of this. When we comply, there will be yet another RCA indicating factors out of Eskom's control. In its MYPD4 application, Eskom on no less than 14 occasions mentioned insignificant sacrifice due to returns that it is not taking in initial years. Yet it does not mention the sacrifices the consumers have to make. We also have to make significant cuts in returns. Truly, the game has changed. Numerous organizations have called for a change in the way Eskom does business. Eskom itself is busy finalizing its future strategic business model, which will hopefully see soon. And by its own admission, there is no silver, this increase is no silver bullet that will not fix the authority on its own. So I don't think if we give them 15%, they will be back to business tomorrow and they will get it on this. Further, there is a presidential task force that has been appointed to analyse Eskom and advise numerous organisations forward. It is therefore clear that nobody is under any illusion that Eskom cannot function as a business as usual in its current form. Nersa therefore cannot adjudicate this application on a business as usual basis. Simply, there are two facts in front of Nersa. One, should Nersa allow a revenue increase, it would not guarantee the survival of Eskom. And two, South African businesses and the country as a collective cannot afford both. These are only two facts of the matter. So in the end, it's Nersa's mandate to regulate the electricity supply industry. Now this is an industry that has to see some sort of reform in the next couple of years or two. So by merely following the rules, Nersa might delay Eskom's demise for the year, but in doing so, it might ultimately fail the electricity supply industry because the reform of the industry will also be delayed. Eskom stated that they cannot solve their problems by themselves. We agree. Therefore, Nersa should give Eskom CPI increases and allow the current proposed process to full. Besides, it is now out of Eskom's hands. So I'm going to end with a quote from Dr. Bale, which was the first chairman of RCA. There lies before the Electricity Supply Commission a great task and a great opportunity. It will be our endeavour to play our part not as those who follow where others lead, but as pioneers, to foresee the needs of the country fast developing, and by wise anticipation be ever ready to provide power for profit where it may be required. Are they still fulfilling that? We don't think so. Thank you. In the article, be on your name and not as those following others lead, but as pioneers. To foresee the needs of the country fast developing, and by wise anticipation be ever ready to provide power for profit where it may be required. What is fulfilling that?
Is there a way that the regulator can avoid following the rules? Because you're saying that maybe following the rules is there a way out for and then secondly, spoke about slide number 10, that is on what decommissioning dates. I just wanted to clarify, are you talking decommissioning or are you talking reserve storage as we have this morning, so that at least we're talking about the 7 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks to the presenters. I noticed that you were stating that the problem is being but I would just like to assist one providing impact in as far as you can change the individual members in terms of the impact of these increases. Because I think that they're going to assist not only for this application, this application guidelines, but even further when the border programs of ESCOM are implemented, as well as also challenge to other sources away from ESCOM. One thing that why information Thank you very much. If you may please respond to those questions.
Thanks, Madam Chair. So for the last question, the Chamber can provide some submissions, but most of the members of the Chamber are large industrial users of mining. That's part of the IED. So through the IEG, we've already submitted in the application the written response to Nersa, the impact that it will have. So you do have most of the members, the large members as well, but for the smaller members, I think the Chamber will probably be able to provide it. Then on the question regarding the commissioning dates, yeah, I think that's proposed as the cold storage or the scrap dates indicated. I think in MYPD they stated this commissioning dates. And then the question regarding the rules, I don't think we're following the rules anyway. You currently, well, ESCOM has taken national report over the 1.23%. They indicated that they might do the same on the RCA, question regarding by ourselves. So I don't think there is a clear rule book at this stage. So the proposal would be to allow the presidential task team the various forms that goes in effect to do their work and just to provide CPI increases up and down.
Thank you very much for your time. What we request you to assist us with the consultation of your members and the input from your members. We would like to understand what your members will do, whether they will consider other sources of energy, will they reduce consumption, what will they do if the price were to increase by a certain percentage, and you can play different scenarios just to check the small but significant increase price. Your members and switching inputs from the members. Further questions will follow.
Can I just quickly reply to the question, what will happen if the electricity increase is significant? The major employers in our area will move out of the country, as many has already done, and they've got mines and not mines, factories in the Philippines. So you will have ghost towns. That is what will happen if the industries are harmed.
We want you to state all of those facts in writing. Not only others, but even the members, your members themselves, what will happen in their own businesses and in terms of them consuming electricity. How much? So that will be the facts that we would like you to put in writing. Thank you very much for your time.
You will have ghost towns. That is what will happen if the industries are harmed.
I'm just checking with the members so that you can break only less than 2 presenters. So the suggestion is that let's go on and finish, and then we can break forward. Thank you. I've got the next presenter, Salamander Mining. I've got Lloyd Barrow. I'm just checking with the members so that you know the array can be only like 2 presenters. So the suggestion is that let's go on and finish, and then we can break. Thank you. I've got the next presenter, Salamander.
Good afternoon. I've heard some swear me in. Okay.
Okay. Do you solemnly declare that the facts you're going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and your designation at Salamander Mining.
My name is Lloyd Burrell. I'm the CEO and founder of Salamander Mining. Well, good afternoon, everyone. You've heard a lot of bad news today. I'm afraid it's about to get even worse. It's clear to me that ESCOM has utterly lost touch with its customers' reality. and it would appear with its own. It's faced with 420 billion in debt, an economy held to its knees, and today we've got a PR exercise with no real solutions, and that has very real consequences for us making decisions as to whether we can invest in gold mining going forward. As I said, my name is Lloyd Burrell. I'm a mining entrepreneur and gold mine owner. Formerly I was executive director of Ergo, which is the largest surface gold reclamation project in the world. I've been the CEO of Galaxy, owner of Horsfeld, founder of Stonewall Resources, listed on the ASX, and I'm currently CEO of Salamander. It's not to sound so smart or so clever, it's just to point out that I've been in the trenches of gold mining and fundraising projects in this country for 15 years. As I said, and it has been a mining entrepreneur and gold miner. I've raised more than 2 billion rand for gold mining projects in South Africa the last decade. As a nation, I'll tell you, we have achieved the impossible. In 1998, we were the world's largest gold producer with 500 tons. Just to remind everyone, 1 ton of gold is worth about 580,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 jobs. Have a look what's happened from 2004 to 2017. That's about 80,000. 70 to 80,000, I can tell you this year it's going to get much worse. Now obviously people say, well, the reasons for the decline in gold mining is not just due to Eskom. Well, it's due to the MYPD and the government failure to provide investments with security of tenure and consistent rules for life and very hard. But there are measures to try and alleviate that. At the moment, either the President and the Prime Minister deal with this. They have to get that right. That's not in dispute. We've had a lot of labour instability, which must be seen to be playing a role in the decline of gold mining. But you have to look at the increase in power and how badly that has affected the situation. The problem is the MPRDA is being fixed. The labour instability is being negotiated. But we cannot do anything without increasing power. And I'll just give you an example of an East Rand gold mine. It should be a fantastic project. 750,000 ounces per annum, revenue $960 million, 12,000 jobs, needs capex of $1.1 billion, can't get it funded. Now, we're busy looking at purchasing a surface reclamation operation. We need to raise $40 to $50 million, and we are agonizing over this. We don't know what. My CFO phoned me and he said, have you looked at these numbers? I said, you should. He said, have you looked at the power? I said, yeah, I'm scared. He said, you should. I phoned one of my colleagues who actually runs, currently right now, the CFO of a large surface reclamation gold project, and I said, what have you got wrong? Well, you tell me your numbers, and he did. Now, if you have a look at it, you'll see, and these are actual real numbers from an actual real live large surface reclamation project. They use about 25 MVA. You can see from 2007 how it's rapidly gone up to 16.8% as a percentage of operating costs. With all the efficiencies, power factor correction, doing whatever it is that they could do, they slid it back to 17%. They're forecasting 22%, and that is without factoring in municipal increases, because they fall into a municipal area. This could be chilling. They would be up to 24, 25%. That's as bad as it gets. Look at it, you'll see. And these are actual real numbers from an actual reclamation project. Now, one of the fundamental difficulties that we have is what we see as cross-subsidization. We use power on a commodity basis. There's nothing that you can do. You have to cool the mines underground. You have to pump. You cannot switch off for 4 hours just because someone wants to go home and switch on the geyser. It is fundamentally impossible for mines to do these. But these are baseload customers. They will use that 25 MVA as we would in our new project. We would use slightly less, about 22 MVA, but that's still between 210 and 230 million rands worth of expenditure, which is a big chunk of cash. However, we use power. The peak load pricing structure is exorbitant. We can do nothing about it. We can do absolutely nothing about it. Yet households, so when I go and I put my big fat bum on the couch at home at 6 o'clock and I put on the heater or the air conditioner and grab a beer, and it's just that I get supper and the oven goes on and the kids get bathed and 2 geezers kick on, all of a sudden I'm not paying anything for it. I'm not being penalised for that irresponsible use of power. But down the road, the mine it is absolutely unacceptable that your efficient economic producers, efficient users of power, are being penalised for the inefficient users of peak load. It is utterly unacceptable, and Mr. Blom referred to it as a pricing model that is hopelessly outdated. So effectively what's happening is there is a cost passed on to economic users who have no capacity to alter consumption patterns. Households are disincentivized. It's not a hardship for me to go and switch off my geyser and switch it back on at 10 o'clock at night. It really isn't. We've got, and where the frustration is, the enormous frustration that we see is the technology exists to load shed 6.5 million pieces or 6 million pieces or however many there are in this country. It's out there. Shed it. 6 million pieces at 3 kilowatts. How much power do you save there? And it's going to take 2 hours for the water to heat up anyway. So let the kids bath, let everyone have a shower, switch off the geysers in your central control panel or wherever it is, and then put the geyser back on at 10 o'clock at night when you've got the power. Then you don't lose the revenue, but you shifted the peak load away from responsible users who are being forced to subsidise. It's utterly unconscionable. The next cost subsidy that we have, the municipalities are acting as agents for ESCOM. I was stunned not to hear a single word today from ESCOM about how to deal with these errant municipalities. We all form part of the municipality which is virtually bankrupt. So what happens is, everyone has a shower, is that effectively there's a second subsidy here, and there's second cross-subsidisation from paying users to non-paying users. Now, I don't for one moment advocate that there shouldn't be, people shouldn't have power on humanitarian reasons. But that's a government obligation, not an ESCOM obligation, to be blunt. It shouldn't be paying customers to pay for a political directive, which is exactly what's happening. What are the effects of the cross-subsidisation? Well, we will fail. I'm going to tell you how badly the gold mining industry is going to fail in 2 minutes. We'll move off the grid. Well, I've already explained we can't move. There's no way. You can't run a mine with solar power. We can manage the increase by absorbing or passing on the cost. Now, we price takers. The price of gold is the price of gold. The exchange rate is the exchange rate. What can we do about it? We can't market it. We can't sell it. That's what the price is. Now, let's be clear on this. And I'm saying this to the panel at Nersa. The pricing structure of ESCOM is unreasonable. ESCOM is saying, well, save us. Save us, even if our customers die. And everyone heard here of the price that customers will pay. That's point number one. It's irrational. Where is the merit in increasing prices and maybe it will result in the failure of your customers, which will in turn cause you to fail in 3 years' time? If enough of your customers move off the grid, enough of your customers fail, you die anyway. It is utterly irrational. Thirdly, it is unlawful. It is unlawful. The decisions of the executive have to be rational and reasonable. There is well-established constitutional law. I can quote you 10 cases. Even if our customers die, this price increase and this structuring is neither. That's point number one. It's irrational. Where is the merit in increasing prices and maybe it will result in other solutions, which will in turn, in the face of clear evidence as to the enormous cost of the economy, ESCOM's only solution is to increase tariffs. Here are our experts, here are our savings. What's their response? Let's jack up the price. I don't think any one of them here sitting here have any doubt as to what the economic ramifications are. Yet that's all they're presenting. It's utterly appalling. You've presided over inefficient coal purchase agreements. Let's not even talk about the Optimum story and things like it. Massive overstaffing, corruption, and cross-subsidisation. And yet, with respect to this panel, Nersa has failed to do its job and compel this monument to incompetence and ineptitude to get its act together. Now, why am I so vociferous about this and so ungracious? Well, I'll tell you why. The Chamber of Mines, they call themselves something different now, but you'll all know them as Chamber of Mines, is going to be making a presentation in Gauteng next week. I spoke to the economist yesterday for several hours. prices and story and things like it. And it was quite comfortable for me to convey this number because the submission has already been made to Nersa. If these price increases go through, between 70 and 80% of South Africa's remaining gold mines and 75% to 85% of South Africa's platinum mines will fail. Now let's just think about that for 2 seconds, or 2 minutes, or 2 hours, or I hope in Eskom's case, for the next 2 weeks. You're talking about the entire and systemic collapse of all deep level mining, platinum and gold, where the consumption of power is approximately 20 to 25%, depending on the mine and the depth of their expenses. The remaining gold mines, and 75%, it's extraordinary that I can actually sit here and explain that if this panel agrees to this increase, 75% on average of your gold mines and your platinum mines will close in the next 24 months. You need to absorb that with respect, and I would say that Nersa has an obligation to stop this dead in its tracks. Now, it wasn't part of my presentation, but if you're asking for something, we are used to in the mining industry lurching from crisis to crisis to crisis, whether it's caused by the former president and the former minister of mines declaring a new minerals charter that suddenly sent shockwaves through our investment community, or Eskom prices, or suddenly collapsing commodity prices. We heard from MMC commodities. But if you were asking what has to be done about it, I can tell you with respect that Eskom needs to be dissected, it needs to be forensically audited, it needs to happen now, and it needs to happen by someone that's not from the ranks. They've shown themselves to be manifestly incapable of either listening to Nersa, listening to their customers, or in fact coming up with any solution that makes any sense whatsoever. Increasing prices is going to wipe out the mining industry, and mark my words, if the mining industry fails, South Africa fails along with it. If you were asking what has to be done about it, needs to be dissected. Thank you. Forensic intelligence needs to happen now, and it needs to happen by someone that's not from the ranks. They've shown themselves to be manifestly incapable of either listening to Nersa, listening to their customers, or in fact coming up with any solution that makes any sense whatsoever. Increasing prices is going to wipe out the mining industry, and no one says if the mining industry fails, South Africa fails along with it. For the I am absolutely, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, the mine is using 25 or 24 MVA. It's using it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's using it at 7 o'clock in the morning. It cannot change its behavior at all. A mine runs, to cool a mine down, requires enormous amounts of power. You can't switch it off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, let the mine heat up, and then try and switch it back on, power back on at 8 o'clock at night. In fact, you lose another 4 hours of production while the mine cools down. Remember, deep level rock mining temperatures are down at 50 degrees Celsius. Power is absolutely crucial to deep level mining, and there's very, very little that we can do to alter that behavior in the morning. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, we should literally be getting our power for free, and Eskom charges us a significant tariff for it as well. So they're getting the best of both worlds. They're penalising us at peak times, and in off-peak times when they should be giving us the power literally for 10%, they're charging us the full rate. Although there is a difference between peak and off-peak, it still doesn't. The saving in the off-peak doesn't make up in any way for the loading in peak times. level mining.
Right, we go to ask for additional information, and that additional information, we want to test, do an economic analysis, like to test your sensitivity to price, but not only that, so that there's no wrong impression that customers are inelastic, whether the price can increase by 80%, they will still buy electricity, those kinds of reports. But the circumstances might be different in your sector, hence we would like the cooperation. Because there's also like a thing about a captured market. A captured market in the sense that you have no available, reliable, alternative supplier. And you are captured because you are only going to get from this one supplier, well, the input that you require. So we want to just test those scenarios so that we don't get the wrong analysis and impression given the market structure and the market conditions. Those questions will come through from the Nersa team and will be sent to you next week so that we can do a proper economic analysis to test the different market conditions and situations.
Ma'am, I can answer with regard to the surface, our own operations. What I would do is that analysis was done in great detail by the Chamber of Mines. So I can answer with regard to our mining projects, which I certainly will do. But the reality is there's no solar, there's no alternative, there's no going off the grid. We either pass the costs on, in other words, reduce labour, which is not really possible, or we close. That's what the Chamber of Mines is saying. They're saying that about, well, as I said, 75% of the remaining mines have got no elasticity. That's it.
That is fine, but what we want to get from the elasticity is one thing. It depends on the market conditions. Because if the market conditions and market structure was different, that elasticity would have been artificial. Because then, if there was an alternative supplier that we are to go to, so we want to check some of those economic principles so that it is not interpreted purely on the basis of the elasticity, but also on the basis of a captured market in the absence of another reliable supplier and that you can turn to or switch to. Thank you very much. The next presenter is the South African cane growers. I've got Jaap Schoeman, the one alternative supplier. So we want to check some of those economic principles so that it is not interpreted purely on the basis of the elasticity, but also on the basis of the captured market in the absence of reliable supply. So we declare that the facts we're going to present before this panel will be the truth and the whole truth.
It is the facts.
Thank you very much. And you commit yourself. It is the facts, but you commit yourself. State your name and your designation at South African cane growers.
My name is Jaap Schoeman. I'm the senior manager for the irrigated wool at RCA Cane Growers Association. Thank you very much, man. Colleagues, friends, members of the public, the panel. This has been I've been to a couple of these Nersa hearings, and I must say this was the liveliest one I've ever seen in a long time. For good and for bad reasons, unfortunately. My message is not going to be positive towards Eskom, I'm sorry to say that. To say we're going to just take the 50% increase is to put it very mildly. We sit in a situation where unfortunately such situations as the one hand has to wash the other one. Otherwise, we're going to seriously see a huge problem. From the sugar industry, we represent about 20,000 growers living sugarcane on land. The sugar, 14 sugar mills. Now, the reason why I'm not presenting the case in Mpumalanga, I don't think Nersa wants to hear the same story twice. It's good to be efficient, have one story, and to spread over both provinces. I think that's the 2% increase. We generate basically a 12 billion rand industry turnover in South Africa, and then direct employment about 79,350 direct jobs. And I mean, we touched the lives of about 1 million people So where we situated, the irrigated areas, and that's the areas that we focus on. Now situated there up in Mpumalanga, where we are currently now, down in Angola, and then obviously we've got some other areas in the Midlands, and so we also have the production. Our growers that we represent, about 90% of the black small-scale growers that delivered about 11,800 last year, 1,300 commercial growers, 323 of which are black. And then also if you look at the way that the area is transferred and so on in Mpumalanga, we've got about 70% of the growers are small-scale growers in the Martin and Angola areas, as well as then also 75 of this area in Mpumalanga, so they are transferred. Now, wouldn't we just love to see a situation where you can say, right, Eskom, we get an increase and you also get a fairly good decrease? Because that is what happened to us. We had a drought situation, we had a big spike in the prices, couldn't deliver any sugar basically, and now we're in a situation where the market automatically recovered itself. And I say specifically, the market corrected itself. We can't unfortunately go to the regulator, ask them a couple of questions, ask them to please put hands in pocket and allow for certain assumptions to be made. We are in a situation where we are almost on the same price level as about 3-4 years back, and it is unfortunate to say that for this year the picture is not getting any rosy. So with regards to input prices, that's the only way that we can basically try and mitigate ourselves and put us in a position. Now, from the RCA meetings that we had in May last year, there was a question from the panel to say, well, how did our cost per charge change since basically the previous number of years? So what I did was I took a snapshot of 2015, and I was basically the share of the cake was about 12% of our input costs. And if I look at 2018, we are sitting roughly at about 16%. So yes, we did all these increases that happened, and yes, it also contributed. But enough, farm staff as well. We are also once again on the link to the national minimum wage, where we once again told as an industry what you will, what you can, and what you shall pay, so that you can see a jump into those costs. Now, like everyone else said here, Mr. Wong said, what are we going to do with this 15%? What are we going to do with this increase? We'll just change the pie chart again. So that 23% is now contributed to our pot. So yes, where must I get it from? That is my issue. But it's not just my issue, but this is my issue of my growers as well. Is where are we going to take it? We sit in the position where we have to say, well, we have to irrigate. We have to use the electricity, and we're currently using it fairly, I would say, responsibly. We are using anything in our abilities to make sure that whatever we put down is as efficient as possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't be standing. Another question that the panel asked also the previous time was to say, well, how much electricity would we actually use? It's nice to see how we can correlate actually to ZZ2. The only difference is we use about 4,100 kilowatt an hour per hectare, which is calculated if you take the entire area of irrigation for basically Mpumalanga and RCA. Remember, sugarcane only, it's about 331, I think it's gigawatt hours that we basically employ. There is, strictly speaking, no way that we can do this ourselves. We rely on an energy powerhouse, which is Eskom, in order to provide us. So to say all of a sudden to say, sorry, we can't take your price increase anymore because we're going to do something else, that is not going to pass. It is not going to happen. Our annual cost is about 400 million per year that we have to fork out for these tariffs. And yes, we do it. The line rentals and so on, we do it. We have to. We don't have a choice. It's like any other increase. However, if we have to take this 3 times 15%, and I mean, we take the compounded effect of that as well, it's an additional 241 million rand per annum to put on the table. Now, if you listen to the presentation from Eskom, I mean, they're talking billions and billions and how many zeros is behind it. But this is significant. This is a significant amount of money that we have to look at. So once again, Nersa is also relying on us as a general public and as a sector to say, well, what can we afford? Well, I would like to say zero, but that's unrealistic. I would like to say negative, that's even more unrealistic. So, if you say CPI or anything like that, if I can ask a recommendation to Nersa, we cannot afford more than 6%. If we say 88.5 million rand over 3 years, additional to what we are currently paying, that is something that the industry can potentially afford. Remember, you have seen how our prices have dropped. Our inputs are up with regards to our yields, and the way that we recover shipments is not getting better. We are at that point we have to say it's a traditional testing. So, all I can ask is, this is from our perspective, we have to put an alternative on the table. It cannot be more than 6%. So, if the other presenters and someone will obviously maybe deviate from me, but we have to look at the realistic picture when we do these kind of calculations. In some way, like all the golfers also said, is we are price takers. We are 99% reliant. I think there's one or two maybe solar panels, a couple of generators running, but for all practical purposes, we are 99% reliant on Eskom for our power. The only price guys are price takers, and all we can do is we can substitute other input costs in order to pay our electricity bills and to keep the lights on. Maybe deviate from me, but we have to look at the realistic picture when we do these calculations. So that's a little bit of it. If Nersa decides to have Eskom the opportunity to increase tariffs at above inflation relation, strong negative effects on the sugarcane farming viability in irrigation regions, especially for the small-scale and emerging markets, emerging growers. And I want to single them out specifically, not because of this or that or anything else. But I mean, we've seen the financial positions that they're in. It's a small amount of money that you have to divide by a big amount of people. On the commercial side, it's a small amount of money that you have to divide by a little amount of people. But effectively, this trouble goes from the second growth side, we've got a couple of things we want Nersa to specifically relate to these applications. Once again, I think Lisa said it quite well, to say, well, we look at this way that Eskom has presented the figures, we look at the way that capital has been spent, the RCA accounts, and have a look and see what we can do differently. Now, unfortunately, we're sitting with the foot soldiers in front of us who have to take the brunt of this, and hopefully this message will go to the board, and they won't just say, well, it is what it is. Hopefully there's some true blood and shed off the closed doors and being basically firstly, can RSA afford this increase given ongoing struggling economy? How does Eskom rank these other power utilities companies? I hear there's benchmarks being done. Is this benchmarks really something to go by? Are they, according to Nersa, effective? Does Eskom get value for money when sourcing the inputs and at the lowest possible price? And how does Eskom cover outstanding income from, for example, the municipalities? I think there was a media brief that was sent out a couple of days ago. Once again to say, well, we all have to pull together to get the municipalities to pay. So I don't know who all of this is, because all that I'm seeing is I'm a paying customer through the RCA account and so on, the costs are being recovered, and I'm just paying more for someone else who can't pay or by using electricity. And I agree with the previous speaker to say we've got all the element of humanitarian behind us, but you have to be realistic, and the numbers unfortunately are not going in a realistic way. So from our side, we cannot support any increase above CPI or above 6%. It's physically not possible. Well, we'll have to probably always make a way of doing these things. But we ask Nersa to once again have a look at these insights and to also make the responsible decision. And once again, I think from our side as well, is thank you to the panel. Like I said, the questions we heard this morning were some of the most vibrant questions I've heard in a long time, and they were specific and they were to the point. And from our side and the general public, I want to say thank you also towards that. Can take any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schoeman. I'm not sure if there are questions, Mr. President. No questions? Mr. Span? Okay. All right, Mr. Davis. Thanks for the presentation. All right. We thank you for the presentation. I think they are very important. There's very important information in your presentation, which we'll test on our own and when the team is doing some analysis. So we will take that into consideration, and we also thank you for trying to assess the way in which Nersa would like the public and stakeholders to assist in the analysis of these applications and try and design your presentation along those lines. We thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. At this stage, I would like to call upon ESCOM to respond to some of the concerns as well as issues raised by various stakeholders, issues of poor services, aging infrastructure, industries that are suffering, some of them not because they are inelastic customers, but because they have nowhere to go. ESCOM, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think firstly we appreciate the inputs from all the stakeholders here today. There were some very important topics that were raised, especially around the issue of cross-subsidies, tariff structures, etc. And as part of the public hearings, we're going to address the sales, the tariff issues on Monday in Rustenburg. But I think it's an important topic to look at as part of the regulatory process. There may be opportunities there that in structuring tariffs to address some of the requirements. I think in terms of what some of the members have said, that the importance of ESCOM to maintain the supply of electricity, especially in those 24-hour mining requirements and many of the base load stations. That is important to the economy. We all know a far more expensive part of electricity is not having electricity at all. The consequences to the economy are much more severe. And that's why in our application and the turnaround, as ESCOM, we acknowledge, yes, we must look at the costs. And you'll see that in the application that the trends are definitely, we're looking to be within inflation, like transmission and distribution presented today, and we'll deal with the generation components also in the upcoming hearings. But at the end of the day, it's three elements, like we've said, in the components that require ESCOM to be sustainable. One, we must address the costs, and in terms of the methodology, we need to allow for prudent and efficient costs, and that's why we're all here today. The second one is, yes, the revenue must ensure that ESCOM also can recover those operating costs and meet its requirements in terms of its debt and service commitments. And lastly, to reduce the impact on the tariffs, like the stakeholders have said, government and the shareholder must also come to the party, and that is why we've put on the table the recommendation of moving about 100 billion of our debt to the sovereign. That's what the presidential task team is looking at. I think at the end of the day, in the upcoming weeks, the State of the Nation, the Minister of Finance's budget speech, as well as importantly, this regulatory decision will not only impact ESCOM for MYPD4, but it has profound implications going forward. And that's where we need to get the balance right, not only for ESCOM, but more importantly, this balance. And I think one of the stakeholders presented here today, that the decision that the regulator has to make this time around is a very difficult balancing act. But at the end of the day, we will deal with the request of how we would amend our application. And in the upcoming sessions, we will definitely talk about the price elasticities, etc. We have done and spoken about Munich's in the previous session, but that element of arrear debts is also part of the government's, one of the task teams that is addressing that. At the end of the day, it's important that ESCOM can recover what it does supply, And some of the realities is when we look to turn off municipalities, and correctly so, the paying customers behind the municipalities then interdict Eskom. So there are definitely some of these elements that are in the government's arena that needs to be addressed. But here we hope that in the upcoming hearings to address your key concerns, and I think there's some opportunities, especially when we look at some of the tariff issues that are raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kassim. Mr. Kassim, it is not to ask questions at this stage because we are responding, but perhaps just some gaps in what has been left out, just to make sure that in your conclusion and your response, it will be given attention. I think today it was different stakeholders that are here, not so much of communities, but I think it's the business sector that is here. And they are representing various sectors. It has been very clear as to their different and peculiar market conditions. So we will, from our side, and because whatever information that will influence our decision, it will be the views when it comes to sectoral analysis and the impact. That is why we encourage the responses in writing. Because we will not take decisions that are based on assumptions that what customers are going to do if we increase, they're not going to change their consumption, they will remain there. So it's important that we point it out that obviously the role of the regulator in adjudicating over this, it will be based on the facts as well as information coming from the demand side of things. So that's what is important that we must take. So some of the things that they've indicated is issues of the sector impact. I haven't heard you addressing the sectoral issues and sectoral concerns and what proposals you're going to come up with, so that when we get to that part of the analysis, we know how Eskom has responded to the plight of the different sectors. There's also a question from Mr. Smanda.
Yes, Chair. So there's a concern, and it's around how Eskom treats municipal debt, and the concern is that there seems to be an unfair treatment of customers. So if you are from agriculture or mining or industry and there's non-payment, this is followed by disconnections, and the same doesn't apply to municipalities. And the question is, why is that? Thank you.
Chair, definitely on Monday we'll deal with the sectoral issues around the municipality disconnections. We can also follow up on Monday where someone understands how do we go about in dealing with those situations. We can explain it on Monday as well.
Thank you, Mr. Kassim. In terms of the impact, in terms of the price increases, I mean the sectoral. In terms of impact, in terms of price increase, but also in terms of the ongoing charges, connection charges, and the other charges that are being levied on the farmers as well, where they made certain contributions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, the line charges. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's hearing proceedings. I would like to thank everyone who has taken the time to be here and participate in these hearings, sharing your views, making certain proposals, and requesting Nersa to look at specific things. And I would like to promise you that all the information that we have received, and we do have our team here, they've got their laptops here, so they are taking every point in writing. They continue with their analysis as we go along. They also provide certain issues to the panel here that the panel needs to ask to the presenters as well as Eskom, just to show that the analysis is ongoing. So I would like to also thank us Eskom for bringing more of your team members so that they are here and assist in terms of questions and provide more information that is required. We also appreciate again your commitment and your offer to provide the revised figures, because we cannot work with the figures that are before us, and it will assist in terms of transparency. I think it will, and also to assist in terms of this public consultation, that you present the proposed changes in the application on the 1st of February. It has to be so that other stakeholders can also react. I think it will be a fair process whilst we are remaining with 2 days and we added a per day to holiday. So I think it will be fair if it is done like that, so that at least stakeholders can react to the application. And so I'm saying this so that you can be able then to assemble your team and make sure that they work on the various issues. And that is the expectation from the regulator, so that the information is all there and we don't work on a different application that was never put to stakeholders to see what areas have changed after all the issues that were raised. I would like to also thank the members of the energy regulator that assisted with these hearings today, and to thank the interpreters as well as the translators as well as the Nersa team that is here, hoping that you will also interact, because we've provided guidance here, and on a day-to-day basis make sure that you also get that information from ESCOM, and also the stakeholders before you go home, those that you need to send letters, get the specific addresses and details and emails so that you can send the letters over the weekend and on Monday. Thank you very much to our IT guy here. He always comes to our rescue. Thank you, Gerald, and thank you to everybody. Lunch is available and you will be guided where we go to have lunch. And have a great weekend. Thank you.